Alijua sauti ya iman ambayo ilisimama thabiti ingawa ilipata shida.
Miaka ilivyopita, Uislamu uliposimama imara, Mtume Muhammad aliamua kumchagua Bilal kuwa muadhini wa kwanza katika Uislamu.
Tumeona watu wakikata tamaa na wengine ambao hawana imani wakaamua wengine mpaka kujitia kitanzi. Kwa wengine mmefanya makosa ambayo muone yametutoa katika Uislamu. Usikate tamaa na rahma ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Nabi salam alayka, ya Rasul salam alayka.
Kenya's Harambee Stars face Senegal in an international friendly match at the Mardan Stadium in Antalya, Turkey on Tuesday, November 18th. The encounter presents a valuable opportunity for growth and learning as the squad aims to test themselves against a continental powerhouse. With Senegal reeling from a 2-0 defeat to Brazil, Harambee Stars aim to exploit that vulnerability, though they remain aware that the Lions of Teranga will be equally determined to redeem themselves.
Stanley Omondi with a chance to shoot, takes a deflection, it's come the way of Ogam. Ogam turns left, fires home, Kenya lead!
Catch this match on Tuesday, the 18th of November from 6 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
It is exactly 1 p.m. East African time. Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News. Let's take a look at the headlines shaping up the news conversation in the country and beyond at this moment. My name is Njue. On the sign language interpretation, we have... all right, I'll be getting to that a little bit later, but let's begin the news. The Ministry of Health says it will not relent in pursuing individuals and health facilities involved in filing fraudulent health insurance claims as part of ongoing reforms under the Social Health Authority. Health Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale revealed that 8 investigative files have already been submitted to the DCI.
Health Cabinet Secretary Adan Duale maintains that the country health sector is undergoing its most significant transformation in decades, with structural reforms being rolled out alongside the fraud investigations.
I've given many, including the former acting CEO, the current acting CEO, many accountants of SHA, many facilities. As of today, I think the DCI has submitted another 8 files. His teams are in Mandera. Despite these challenges, the ministry says the Social Health Authority is making significant progress as evidenced by the number of Kenyans now covered. Duale notes that 27.5 million people are currently registered under SHA, with 30,000 to 35,000 new registrations daily. Every day, those who cannot pay in the informal sector and who have no money go through the SHA Lipa Pole Pole. Yesterday, 1,900 went through that and paid 5.5 million. Duale further observed that the government has strengthened emergency referral systems, improved staffing in maternity wards, and ensured a reliable supply of essential medicines, all aimed at preventing unnecessary deaths of mothers and newborns. KEMSA supplies every 100 different types of drugs that is asked for, requested for. They can supply 80. We are refilling their refill rate to reach up to about 95. If the president gave me up to December, I must take it to 99%. So that every dispensary, this story of there are no drugs in our dispensary must come to an end. Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Adan Duale there on the report in regards to SHA and those institutions that have filed fraudulent claims. Moving on. The body of a middle-aged woman was found dumped along Temple Road in Kitengela, with area residents decrying increasing cases of crime in the region. The unidentified body had visible head injuries, with preliminary investigations by police indicating she could have been killed elsewhere and the body dumped in a bushy area along the road. Isinya Sub-County Police Commander Simon Lokitari, while confirming the incident, said police have launched further investigations into the matter as locals demanded an end to criminal activity. The residents now want the police to intensify night patrols to flush out criminals.
Tumesikitishwa sana na mambo ambayo tumepata leo asubuhi. Tumeamka hapa, tumepata mwili wa mama ambao umetupwa hapa. It's very unfortunate and very sad kuona ya kwamba mambo ya insecurity levels imefika hii area kiwango hiki, na tungependa sana kuhimiza kwanza sana vitengo vya security ya kwamba sana wakati huu wa msimu wa Christmas tukielekea mwisho wa mwaka mambo kama haya yanazidi. Kwa hivyo tunangeomba ya kwamba wakaze, watilie mkazo sana mambo ya security, wahakikisha ya kwamba wananchi wako safe katika area hili.
And moving on, 2 UDA MPs from northern Kenya are accusing several cabinet secretaries of failing to champion the government's agenda, saying the burden of delivery has been left entirely to President William Ruto. Fafi MP Salah Yakub and Wajir North MP Ibrahim Saneh accused some CSs of neglecting duties and sabotaging the government by staying inaccessible. The MPs urged swift action, noting regions like Wajir North lack visible national projects 3 years into his term.
Zingine wako South Africa, wanakujanga hapa Thursday mpaka Tuesday na wanahama. Projects za serikali kuna sabotage ndani ya serikali ya Ruto. Na sisi tunahakisha kwamba hiyo sabotage tutatoa. Hizo vigunyo zote tutazitoa.
Our vote shall be associated with the development we get on the ground. We will reciprocate what the government will be doing for people of Northern Kenya. Of the promises made to people of Northern Kenya, from Garissa to Wajir North to Tarbaj, let us go for self-audit how much we are delivered.
In other news, Kenyans have been challenged to inculcate the saving culture to enable them to have financial impetus in the future. This emerged during the unveiling of a security-proof smart pay card that targets local Kenyans and the diaspora. The CFP Group, in a strategic partnership with MasterCard and technology partner MDP, revealed that the Rukisha Smart Pay is a card designed to empower Kenyans with seamless, secure, and globally accessible financial solutions. The new card will help to tame incidences of cybercrime. The Rukisha Smart Pay comes at a time when cross-border remittances, SME growth, and digital commerce are driving new consumer expectations for convenience, security, and accessibility.
The saving rate for pension in Kenya is still very low. For individuals at informal level, in other words, who are not employed by corporate institutions and government, is quite low. We have arrangements with many institutions and outlets so that in addition to what you can save from your own wallet, when you purchase an item or service, that particular institution will give you an additional discount over the standard discounts they give to their normal customers.
The beauty of what CPF through Rukisha is launching today is what I call induced saving. You know, it's like compulsory saving. Because if we tell you to save, most of us lie that we've saved, but in a nutshell, we don't save. So the conversation here is get your card or download your card, and then every time you swipe, there's a certain amount that is kept and saving for you. So at the end of the year, at the end of the month, if you look at your statement, you'll be seeing some amount that has been held back. That is your savings.
We are actually bringing more and more people into the financial inclusion segment, and our job and our mandate is to also bring in those communities that typically don't come into the financial model. For example, women. And one of the things that we have done as MasterCard is to bring in women entrepreneurs and provided a fund. Out of the 250 million SME fund that MasterCard has provided, 50 million is actually designed to enable women entrepreneurs to be able to actually transact.
Principal Secretary, State Department for Correctional Services, Dr. Salome Biko, has emphasized the government's commitment to advancing national development goals, particularly in education and rehabilitation of prison facilities. Speaking during the unveiling of the Remand Library at Jela Baridi Remand Prison in Mombasa County, the Principal Secretary noted that the library will go a long way in empowering inmates academically. Sentiments echoed by the Dawood Bokhra community representative Hamza Taher, who reiterated that the library will inspire the growth and expand the horizons of the locals.
Vital instruments of change, opening minds and broadening horizons for those within the remand justice system. At its core, literacy opens doors to empowerment, to understanding, to self-confidence, and to self-worth. For those in remand facing moments of difficulty and uncertainty, this library will serve as a comforting balm for learning, for healing, and for self-discovery. So I encourage nyinyi wenzetu, tafadhalini, make use of this library.
Our community has restored this library and provided over 800 books, board games, 10 desks, and today we will be handing over even 300 pairs of shoes for the inmates. Hali ya leo si mwisho. Kila kitabu unachofungua ni nafasi ya kuanza upya. Matumaini bado yapo na kesho inaweza kuwa bora zaidi.
In other news, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairman Erastus Ethekon Edung is warning against electoral violence as he revealed investigations are underway in Mbeere North and Kasipul constituency over claims of electoral-related violence. This comes days after the UDA party filed a police complaint alleging a plot by the opposition to cause chaos during a rally in Mbeere. The IBC chairman, in an exclusive interview with KBC, pledged to ensure a free and fair mini-poll, adding that the commission was ready to oversee the mini-poll.
Enter the home stretch with less than 10 days left to the November 27th by-elections for 24 electoral wards and constituencies. Our EBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon says the commission is ready to conduct the mini-poll.
So for us as IBC, what I would like to assure Kenyans is that these elections, starting with the by-election, will be done in a free, fair, and credible and verifiable manner. So we should be able to account for all the results that we will be transmitting and telling Kenyans.
Speaking to KBC, Ethekon also warned against chaotic campaigns, saying the commission was working with police to investigate claims by UDA party of a plot to cause chaos by a rival political party during their rallies in Mbeere North.
For us to verify, we've requested the DCI to investigate that clip to find out who are these people, what was their motivation, what were their intentions, what were they planning, so that they give us that information.
He further revealed they were probing an incident reported in Kasipul constituency and had already summoned one of the candidates for questioning. Ethekon assured political players and citizens the commission will ensure free and fair by-elections, urging Kenyans to exercise their civic rights peacefully.
Generally, across the 24 electoral election areas, we've had peace, except for the few unfortunate incidences in Kasipul, which we addressed on Friday. So there is a hearing that is going on to determine what are the issues that happened in Kasipul that resulted to violence, loss of lives, and destruction of property.
On the concerns of voter registration apathy, Ethicon says they are engaging in civic education and have set up mobile registration centers for pastoralist communities to ensure voter registration.
Currently, we are registering people at the constituency offices, which is a challenge for pastoralist nomadic communities. So when we launch mass voter registration, we will ensure that we target the nomadic pastoralist communities through mobile registration units or centers.
The November 27th by-election will be held among others Baringo County Senate seat, 6 MP seats in Banissa, Kasipul, Magarini, Malava, Mbere North, and Ugunja constituencies, and several county assembly members.
In other news, Kenya and 18 other countries in Eastern, Southern and Northern Africa have intensified efforts to establish a joint regional shipping line as part of a broader strategy to cushion their economies from global supply chain disruptions and high commodity prices. The states meeting in Nairobi under the Maritime Organization for Eastern, Southern and Northern Africa, MOESNA, are reviewing draft feasibility report on setting up the shipping line alongside a regional maritime cargo protocol aimed at strengthening Africa's control over its maritime.
Africa, and as regional states, we have not taken enough interest in issues of maritime. And of course, we note that they're just coming up now, but with the coming into force of the revised African Maritime Charter and the continental frameworks which we have, which emphasize the development of maritime economy for Africa, we need now to take this a step further and work on how we can collaborate.
We're having a conversation, and the conversation is that we need, apart from, we need to trade among ourselves. But again, the problem is that we don't have a shipping line of our own, both private and public. We are at the mercy of the multinational companies. We have no control over the charges and the rules of the game, they dictate. So what we are talking about here, we're having a conversation to see the way forward. If we can have our own regional shipping line, that way even our goods and our services, in terms of pricing, will be able to be competitive.
Moving on, parents have been urged to engage their children in moral nurturing activities during the long school holiday. Former Kariobangi North Ward MCA Julius Maina Njoka at the same time urged the parents to monitor their children's movement and behavior during the holidays. Njoka, who is also vying for the Kariobangi North Ward seat in the upcoming by-election, has in the meantime unveiled free games and competition for the local children to actively engage them for the 2 months they are at home. The initiative also aims to bond with the children with each other as they utilize their talents. Njoka urged sobriety in the country in the wake of the heightened political atmosphere.
Haijabahatika kupata vitu kama hizi ambazo watoto wetu tumewaletea. Tumekuwa na mpango wa kufanya Sunday tangu Sunday iliyopita na hii Sunday, na tunaifanya hivyo kila Sunday mpaka shule zifunguliwe in the year 2026. Sunday ni kitu mzuri sababu inaleta watoto wote pamoja. Tunawaonyesha life nyingine ambayo hawajazoea kuona. Ukiona watoto wengi ambao wako hapa wamefurahishwa sana na hiki kitendo chetu. So hatufanyi kitu sababu ya siasa, tunaifanya sababu tumeona kuna need ya watoto kuwajumuisha kwa vitu kama hizi, wanafurahia pamoja, tunasherehekea nao pamoja.
Elsewhere, government spokesperson Dr. Isaac Mwaura has reassured residents that the 683 billion shilling gold discovery in Isulu Bushiangala region will directly benefit the community. He clarified that Kenya's mining law guarantees fair revenue sharing, 70% to the national government, 20% to Kakamega County and 10% to the local community. Mwaura also affirmed that no resident will be displaced without proper compensation, with government teams already handling the process. He reiterated that the Kenya Kwanza administration is committed to equitable political and socio-economic development across all regions, rolling out major projects and programs to reduce poverty, create jobs, improve livelihoods, and ensure no region is left behind.
Others involve 5 road projects being implemented to enhance regional connectivity and economic integration, 4 water projects to give the residents clean water and safe water both for domestic and farming, 6 market projects, and many others that are there. We even have a county industrial park in Sinoko County Aggregation Industrial Park. The park will serve as a key driver of value addition, industrial growth, and job creation for the region. Construction of similar types is being planned for other constituencies.
The Kenyan National Private Security Workers Union Secretary General Dr. Isaac Andabwa now says that he has no plans to contest for the Kotu General Secretary position in next year's election, as claimed by a section of the media. Andabwa says the reports are misleading and meant to strain relationships between the KNPSWU and Kotu. He reaffirmed that the private security workers fully support Atuoli's re-election in 2026. He urged members to ignore the rumors and remain united.
Kotu has got a constitution, and if anybody wants to contest against Dr. Atuoli, he must be endorsed by the executive board of Kotu, and not from the streets of Nairobi. Therefore, I want to categorically deny any involvement, any ambition to, or actually to unseat my boss, who is also a senior brother from Western Province. I cannot, and nobody should imagine that I can do that.
And it was a sigh of relief to residents of Kibiko, Ngong in Kajiado West, after they received allotment letters for their ancestral land following 2 decades of leadership wrangles, confusion, anxiety, and insecurity. In the recent past, the area has witnessed rampant insecurity, pitting landowners and alleged cartels, who locals claim have been working in cahoot with a section of local leaders to grab the land. The residents say the intervention by the Ministry of Land will help restore security. In the first phase, 4,600 allotment letters were issued, with beneficiaries optimistic that title deed processing will be expedited.
Na vile kaunti walitusaidia kuchukua pin location ya shamba, ilikuwa ni kitu ya maana na jambo la maana. Hivi allotment imetokea hivyo. Mahali unaishi ndio shamba lako liko jina lako, pin location yako, namba yako ya simu na mahali haswa unaishi.
Each and every member is receiving an acre. And each and every member is given where she had already settled or he had already settled. Where the house is, where the shamba is, he's going to be getting that title, that letter of allotment from where she is or where they are living in.
Moving on, the government has been urged to chip in and help people living with HIV, especially children, following the withdrawal of donor services by the U.S. government. The affected population says managing HIV and AIDS is slowly becoming a burden following the sudden change of affairs by foreign donors. This emerged during the 10th anniversary of Connect to Retain in Kilifi County, where stakeholders also called to end cases of gender-based violence. They also stressed the need for sex education at home to prevent instances of teenage pregnancies and early marriages.
Parents, that we take care of your children. You know, sexual violence is actually very fundamental, especially when it comes to issues of children. So wale wazazi ambao wako na watoto wao, tafadhali tuchunge wakati huu. Hatutaki shule zikifunguliwa Disemba ati mimba za mapema zimeongezeka, na pia vijana wasiingie katika tabia hatari, tabia mbaya ambazo zinahatarisha maisha yao na ujana wao.
The parents should start cultivating a relationship with the children ili wawaeleze ikiwa ukitendewa chochote na mtu kizuri, kibaya, nieleze kama mzazi wako, and I will not judge you. Sitakujaji, sitakupiga, sitakukaripia, nitakusikiliza na tutafute suluhisho.
Okay, wito wa serikali ni kuweza kuomba sana sana waangalie hao adolescents ambao wameambukizika, kwa sababu wengi wao kuja kujitambua ni sawa, wamezaliwa, wengine wameambukizika, na unafika mahali unapata hao watoto bado hawajajua ni kwa nini wanatumia zile dawa.
In other news, in Runogone village in Meru County, a family facing unique challenges has received a lifeline from a group of retired professional women. In a show of compassion, the group has also constructed a house for the couple's 22-year-old son, who is also living with autism, giving him a safer and more comfortable space. A team of retired professional ladies from Meru County visited the home carrying donations that included food, mattresses, and clothing. The group, led by members such as Helen Nkirote, says they first met the family during last year's Christmas festivities and were deeply moved by their struggles.
The family is challenged, the father and the mother are challenged, and the 3 children are challenged. 2 children, the 2 children, one of them was taken by the uncle when she was in class 6, and she is now in Mawa House. They took Mawa nursing. They took full responsibility of educating that child, and she stays with them. My appeal is that any donor, anybody who sees and who feels the need to assist this family, they can really do it.
Kisii County woman member of National Assembly Doris Ndonya Aburi has called for stronger punitive measures against perpetrators who sexually exploit minors. During a media briefing at a gender-based violence GBV recovery center in Kisii town, she noted that the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2023, which seeks to strengthen the existing Sexual Offences Act of 2006 by introducing harsher penalties and enhancing protection for survivors, is already at an advanced stage in Parliament. Aburi also emphasized the need for better education and sensitization, noting that many GBV survivors are unaware of how to properly collect and preserve evidence, which often weakens prosecutions.
Mom aliamua tu ku take responsibility of my child.
I have my sexual offences bill. It went through the first reading, inakuja the second reading. Hiyo ina propose tunakuwa na all sensitization yote inafanyika kwa mashule, awareness, watoto wanafunzwa, hakuna mtu anakufanyia FGM. Hii mambo ya teen pregnancy mnaambiwa life after it, how to do the prevention. So the bill is about to task the Ministry of Education ifanye public awareness in all schools, watoto wajue about this thing.
Moving on, residents of Narok South have vowed to continue their tree planting efforts in the Masai Mau forest as part of a wider conservation efforts to water catchment areas. This and much, much more. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Institution of Engineers of Kenya invites you to the 32nd IEK International Convention happening from 25th to 28th November 2025 at Pride in Paradise Beach Hotel and Spa Mombasa. This year's theme, Engineering the Future, the roadmap for Kenya. Join engineers, industry leaders and global partners as we shape the blueprint for Kenya's sustainable development. Experience 4 days of powerful sessions, thought-provoking discussions, exhibitions and networking, all set against the serene coastal beauty of Mombasa. Don't miss your chance to connect, collaborate and make an impact. Visit convention at iekenya.org to register and be part of a transformative experience that defines the future of engineering in Kenya. See you there. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzi wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
CAF ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee ku watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Welcome back. Kilifi County Government, in partnership with Amref Health Kenya, has made strides in the treatment and eradication of hydrocele and elephantiasis diseases in the county through surgical camps and integrated healthcare. In a program launched 4 years ago, more than 300 patients, both children and the elderly, have undergone surgical procedures to remove swellings. Hydrocele disease is a neglected tropical disease, NTD, spread by mosquitoes, and it affects the male reproductive parts, while elephantiasis affects males on their legs, hands, groin area, and scrotum, and in women it affects the hands and legs.
Karibu miaka miwili inanisumbua tu. Kazi yangu ya shambani, kifanya kazi zaidi nasikia kuumia kichunu.
Unapatikana kupitia mbu ambaye anauma, na anapomuuma yule mtu ambaye ana hivi vidudu ama hii vinyoo vidogo ambavyo vinaelekeza kupata huu ugonjwa, basi huwa anaambukiza mtu mwingine. Kwa hivyo zile vijiji ambazo huwa zimeathirika sana huku Magarini ni upande wa Mbaoni, Mwangatini, Burangi, huko Garashi. Kuna hizo cases nyingi sana.
The highlight for this time will be that we're going to operate on mainly hernias and hydroceles and any other small surgical procedures. And the point is that we want to make it a very safe environment for operating of these babies. And also we don't want them to be traveling to very far distances to be able to get this or access these surgical cares like in Mombasa or other places.
Residents of Narok South have vowed to continue their tree planting efforts in the Masai Mau forest as part of a wider initiative to restore water catchment areas. Speaking as they expressed gratitude to Base Titanium for training them in tree nursery management and modern beekeeping, members of the Kirobon community-based organization CBO said the environmental program has transformed their livelihoods while helping the forest recover. According to the group's chairman, Wycliffe Kimutai, the eviction of settlers from the Masai Mau forest initially shattered their hopes and left them uncertain about the future. Members say, apart from forest restoration efforts, the trainings have helped youth in economic empowerment, thus avoiding engaging in unlawful activities.
So tunahimiza mashirika wengine wote wale wanahusika katika mambo ya kuhifadhi environment waike mfano ya Base Titanium, kukuja kushikana na community, alafu wanunue miti ambao zile communities yenye iko karibu na msitu wako nayo, ili hao watu wafaidike.
Msaidia sisi kabisa kwa kupanda miti, hata kuonyesha sisi mahali tufanye ile vitu tuna style kufanya. Tumejua hata kupanda miti, hata pesa ya tunatoa pesa huko, na tumepata somesha watoto kabisa mpaka wamemaliza, hata wamesaidia kabisa kwa kila jambo.
Let's make sense of business. TVS Motor Company has launched an assembly for making motorcycles locally that is expected to create over 1,300 direct jobs as well as offer training for mechanics in Kenya. The assembly plant has the capacity to make 700 units daily. The local assembly will initially make TVS Apache RTR 180 model, then expand to other models. TVS Motor Company will use Kenya as a launch pad into the larger Eastern African market. TVS Apache is used by over 6.5 million riders in 60 countries.
Capacity a day is 700 a day, 700 units a day, which is significant enough for the Kenyan market right now. And the more we can localize production, the more we'll be able to export outside Kenya. So we have trained over 7,500 mechanics in every street, every town in Kenya. So that's the base employment. Then when you look at our manufacturing, there's probably another 1,200, 1,300 people. So if you look at the industry as a whole, it's a massive employer, right? We really employ a lot of people, create a lot of jobs, feed a lot of people.
Now we are opening new chapter. We are going also to bring more mobility solutions to in terms of individual mobility, and that segment which will be more for desire, for lifestyle, and that's the area we are now starting to invest and to propose to this new segment and new customers in Kenya.
Absa Bank Kenya has reported a profit after tax of 16.9 billion shillings in the 9 months to September 2025, despite a marginal drop in loans and advances. The bank says loans and advances declined slightly by 0.6% to 309.7 billion in the reported period. Customer deposits jumped 9.2% to 384 billion shillings, though net interest income fell 4.6% to 33 billion, reflecting pressure on interest margins.
Net loans and advances rose slightly from 309.1 billion shillings last year to 309.7 billion shillings this year, representing a 0.2% increase. However, interest income on loans dropped, falling from 53.3 billion shillings in 2024 to 32.6 billion shillings in 2025, a decline of 38.9%. The bank also recorded weaker non-funded income, with a total non-interest income easing from 83.2 billion shillings to 55.5 billion shillings, representing a 33.3% decline. Total interest expenses dropped from 13.0 billion shillings to 9.6 billion shillings, a drop of 26.1%. And other operating expenses fell from 32.6 billion shillings to 22.3 billion shillings, marking a 31.4% reduction. Credit quality improved significantly, with Absa cutting its loan loss provision from 9.1 billion shillings to 4.8 billion shillings, almost a 46.7% decline. Total assets grew by 14% to 554 billion shillings, underscoring the strength of their balance sheet. The bank also saw a minimal increase in operating expenses to 17.5 billion shillings. Sylvia Gatti for Lunchtime News.
Truckers and warehouse operators at the port of Mombasa are urging the Kenya Ports Authority to source for an alternative space for storing empty containers to avert a looming logistics crisis. Kenya International Freight and Warehouse Association KIFWA National Secretary Musa Mbira says hundreds of trucks are yet to be offloaded due to limited space for empty containers, which is pushing up the operational cost for transporters and importers.
The Kenya Maritime Authority last week gave notice instructing shipping lines and agents operating at the port of Mombasa to expedite the evacuation of empty containers currently lying within the port and at the port's Reeds interchange. The operators now want Kenya Ports Authority to consider temporarily sourcing additional space to store empty containers to decongest the port.
We are requesting KPA, we are requesting KRA, we are requesting Kenya Ships Agents Association to at least talk to the governor of Mombasa or the governor of Kilifi to allocate a place either in Mazeras, Miritini, Jomvu. Those areas have a huge place, a chunk of land that they can come as a consortium and drop off containers at least for a period of 90 or 120 days.
They say the empty container storage crisis has seen business incur more costs, despite assurances that they will not accrue demurrage charges once it is confirmed that an empty container has arrived at its designated drop-off depot, even if it cannot be offloaded immediately due to capacity constraints.
Shipping lines should not charge demurrage for container empties that have already been aligned at their empty depots for drop-off, and yet the depots are full, and they are telling our transporters that because you are empty, you are free, free demurrage charge is yet to start, you come tomorrow or day after. Then who pays for those extra days if demurrage has accrued?
More than 500 trucks have their empties for the last 1 week. This person uses the truck to make more trips, to make more money.
The transporters and warehouse operators fear that the situation would escalate to a crisis if it is not urgently addressed before the peak season in December.
This crisis of empty container started in mid-June when it was still a crisis. And then it became now in late November. Now we are heading to November. It is now a disaster. When we are going to the peak season in December, it will be a tragedy. The port will be impassable. The towns will be impassable because empty containers will be dropped anywhere.
Now, Kenya is pushing for collaborations between farmers, agripreneurs, and industry players to strengthen contract farming models and enhance value addition in the agricultural ecosystem. Policymakers say contract farming is key in strengthening food systems, improving market access, and empowering smallholder farmers across Africa and beyond.
The workforce. So when we are talking of commercial agriculture, and contract farming is very important because it is important for farmers because they can get training, reliably markets, inputs.
Moving on, harmonization of standards is key to lowering the price of food and strengthening food security through eased cross-border trade across Africa. Speakers at the close of the 11th African Grain Trade Summit called for unified grain standards and the removal of trade barriers, arguing that predictability and efficient grain markets are essential for farmers, traders, and households grappling with high food prices. EAC and Regional Development Cabinet Secretary Beatrice Askul, who also chairs the EAC Council of Ministers, says Africa cannot continue spending $48 billion annually on food imports while local producers face market fragmentation and inconsistent regulations.
And grain markets are central to this vision. Our deliberations here in Zanzibar have underscored the urgent need to strengthen resilience, enhance competitiveness, and accelerate integration of our grain systems. Kenya remains fully committed to advancing policies and initiatives that make cross-border grain trade smoother, predictable, and efficient.
Further afield, the European Commission's Autumn 2025 economic forecast shows that, driven by a surge in exports in anticipation of U.S. tariff increases, the European Union economy maintained growth in the third quarter of this year, and it is expected to continue expanding at a moderate pace over the forecast horizon.
In the report released on Monday, the Commission said the gross domestic product GDP of the EU is expected to grow 1.4% in 2025, with the Eurozone expanding 1.3%. Growth in 2026 is forecast at 1.4% for the EU and the 1.2% for the Eurozone, both slightly lower than the projection made in May. Licensed merchandise for China's 15th National Games has generated more than 680 yuan in sales as events continue across the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. With demand surging for products featuring the game's dolphin-themed mascot, Si Yang Yang and a Lirong Rong, inspired by the Chinese white dolphin, have emerged as top sellers and helped drive a boom in cultural and creative products. Finally, the dollar index, which measures the greenback against 6 major peers, gained 0.29% to 99.588% at 20 hours GMT. In late New York trading, the euro fell to $1.1583 from $1.1618 in the previous session, and the British pound declined to $1.3146 from $1.3165 in the previous session.
Time to tilt the lens and focus on sports news. National boys under-17 soccer team head coach William Muluya says the team will be aiming to register a positive result at the Junior Stars Open, their 2026 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers today at 4 p.m. with a match against Somalia. The match will be played at Abebe Bikila Stadium in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
The Junior Stars will intensify their training at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia will kick off their AFCON qualifiers today at 4 p.m.
Because we have done everything with the time that we have had, now it goes back to the mental preparation. That is the only thing. But again, getting something against Somalia, it means we should defend well. Because the moment you defend well, then we have a big possibility of getting goals from the players we have that can express themselves going forward.
Kenya will then face Rwanda this Friday, followed by a match against South Sudan on the 24th of this month.
Kwanza hii tournament na winning mentality, tunajua tukiwin game ya kwanza na mshatokuwa chengiza hiyo winning ndani yetu, so hata tukiface game ya pili hata kuwa na ile courage ya kuogopa, tutakuwa na courage juu tushawin game ya kwanza, alafu pia inatupatia point 3 za kwanza na to encourage.
They will then conclude their Group A fixtures against host Ethiopia on the 27th of this month. At the Diredawa Stadium, Sudan will face 2024 champions Uganda in their first Group B match of the day, while Tanzania take on Djibouti in the second match.
Last year, ilikuwa national team, but hatukuweza kuachieve what we were to achieve. But this time, hopefully, tunaweza go far. Compared to last year, tunaweza achieve more.
The best 3 teams in the qualifiers will qualify to represent the CECAFA zone at the AFCON Under-17 next year. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
And across borders, Germany booked their place at the 2026 FIFA World Cup after thrashing Slovakia 6-0 last night at the Red Bull Arena in Leipzig, Germany. Nick Woltermed opened the scoring for Germany in the 18th minute with a powerful header. Then Serge Gnabry doubled the lead 10 minutes later. Leroy Sané scored the 3rd minute. Hassan Ouedraogo added a 6th goal 12 minutes later to leave a 6-0 result on the scoreline. Netherlands also confirmed their place at the World Cup after comfortably beating Lithuania 4-0. In other matches, Northern Ireland registered a 1-0 win over Luxembourg. Poland beat Malta 3-2 as Czechia thrashed Gibraltar.
Nice little turn, Simmons with space, Xavi Simmons, brilliantly done.
Very well, that will put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News this Tuesday afternoon. But just a quick one, as countries qualify for World Cup and others play friendly matches just like Kenya, Harambee Stars will be having a very tantalizing match tonight, actually this evening from 6 p.m. that is going to be played in Turkey, that is the former Turkey, where Harambee Stars will be playing the Lions of Teranga in a friendly match that you do not want to miss. Why? KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner, will be airing and beaming that match live from Turkey from 6 p.m. So make a date. For this news, plus much more, please don't forget to check out our social media spaces, including our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. On behalf of everyone who's made this broadcast a success, including my director for the day, Mogo Karaoke, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ben Troy Njue. The lovely lady on the bottom right of your screen who has been handling the sign language interpretation has been Caro Njoroge. Do have yourself a fantastic afternoon ahead.
Artificial intelligence that evaluates traffic and can prevent congestion. Autonomous flying vehicles that communicate with each other. It all sounds pretty cool, but do innovations like this really make travel better for us? What is the future of smart mobility? Today on Shift. 150 hours in traffic every year. That's the reality for the average person from London or Chicago. That's almost an entire week stuck in your car waiting. Congestion is a huge problem in many big cities, but what if we could leave the road behind altogether?
A startup from India is developing a flying taxi for two, barely larger than a conventional car. In Brazil, it's hoped that vehicles like this will be on the market by 2026. In autonomous flight mode, this model will carry 6 passengers up to 100 kilometres. In Japan, this single-seater is taking to the skies. In Israel, a startup is testing air taxis for medical emergencies and transporting patients to hospital. And German company Volocopter wants to ferry people around at next year's Paris Olympics. The Vertical Flight Society estimates that there are over 700 different designs for electric vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, or eVTOLs, from nearly 350 companies worldwide. Other than helicopters, which often run on kerosene, most flying cars use electric motors. eVTOLs are also quieter than helicopters and thus more suited for urban areas. And because they don't emit carbon dioxide, they are more eco-friendly too, assuming the electricity comes from sustainable sources. However, the shorter range coupled with the weight of the batteries means that most designs can only carry 2 passengers. There are undoubtedly some challenges to overcome until we see flying taxis in our cities. There are many regulatory and safety questions still unanswered, and infrastructure for takeoff and landing still needs to be built.
So it might be a while before we can kiss the traffic jam goodbye. But another mobility revolution is on the cusp of a breakthrough. Fully autonomous robo-taxis are making an appearance in the streets of San Francisco.
Driverless cars like this one are a common sight here in famously tech-friendly San Francisco. Cameras, radar and LiDAR technology continuously scan the car's surroundings. The cabs use cloud-based map systems to navigate their way through the city. But the technology isn't perfect. Cars don't always wait where they should, and often stop when they get confused, blocking traffic.
I don't know why we're stuck.
Accidents have happened. One car crashed into a fire truck in San Francisco.
Want to enjoy free-to-air digital TV with crystal clear quality? Here's how to get started with Signet. Step 1. If you have a smart TV, you're good to go. Next, connect the aerial to your TV. Now, do an auto search on your TV. Just follow the prompts on the screen. And that's it. You're now tuned in to Signet. Sit back and enjoy a wide range of free-to-air digital channels. For technical inquiries, call the Signet hotline on 0770 572 656.
Kenya's Harambee Stars face Senegal in an international friendly match at the Mardan Stadium in Antalya, Turkey on Tuesday, November 18th. The encounter presents a valuable opportunity for growth and learning as the squad aims to test themselves against a continental powerhouse. With Senegal reeling from a 2-0 defeat to Brazil, Harambee Stars aim to exploit that vulnerability, though they remain aware that the Lions of Teranga will be equally determined to redeem themselves.
Stanley Omondi. Then Stanley Omondi with a chance to shoot, takes a deflection, it's come the way of Ogam. Ogam turns left, fires home, Kenya lead!
Catch this match on Tuesday, the 18th of November from 6 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
It is that time of the week where we get to entertain you the best way we know how. How are you?
That's what's up. Welcome to the biggest, the baddest entertainment show right here in the 254. Miss V, is that time of the year?
Yeah.
Tunaingia festive season kidogo.
Tushaingia tayari.
Are you ready for festive season?
I am more than ready.
You know, December is around